with using one product twice for 10 days. There we go, back to the 10 days. So imagine that you're going to start your 30-day transformation. That's going to be followed by another 30-day transformation, followed by another 30-day transformation. That's basically what a 90-day ULT is. But instead of doing a parasite cleanse 3 times, you're just going to do it the very first time, because I believe you should do that parasite cleanse 4 times a year. Okay? And so, moving, adjusting screen. And here's how it works. How many people have ever had cravings for sugar, carbohydrates, sweets, and things like that? Most of us have. Did you know that there are ingredients in the Power Shake that will dramatically reduce your cravings for sweets? Did you know that the apothecary with the tart cherry actually works, even though there's sugar in it, works to reduce your cravings for sweets? So it is working for you physiologically and metabolically as well. You're gonna have 2 Power Shakes a day. You're gonna wake up, you're gonna have one. For me, it's fairly early in the morning. And then I wait and I have mine early in the afternoon, my second one. For some people, they like to do it in a different rhythm. They like to get up and have one later in the day, and then one in the evening. Whatever you choose, it's very important that you have 2 Power Shakes a day. This is gonna get the ingredients in your body that are gonna reduce your cravings, they're gonna satisfy. There's very slow burning carbohydrates, they'll satisfy your need for food for a very long time. So for most people, you'll get away with 1 or 2 healthy meals a day, in addition to the 2 Power Shakes. Now, in addition to the Power Shake, you're going to get what we call Super Amino 23. Now, Super Amino 23, has anybody ever heard of the physician's desk reference? That's what sits on the desk of all the doctors' offices, or did historically. Well, these aminos actually at one time, because they've been around a while, at one time had 17 different references in the physician's desk reference. But when they changed the law and said that nutritional supplements could not be in the physician's desk reference, only pharmaceutically approved drugs could be, then our super aminos came out of the physician's desk reference. There's dozens of clinical studies done on our protein, and it proves that our protein is the most efficient protein. In other words, your body utilizes 99+% of this protein. That this protein goes directly to your muscle within 22 or 23 minutes. That's why we call it Super Amino 23. And that this protein leaves no byproduct in your liver or your kidneys like other proteins do. It's the single most efficient protein. In fact, this protein was used in hospitals. If you were in what's called, if you were in a coma, if you were in paralyzed, you would get something called muscle wasting. Muscle wasting kills you. It's when your muscles no longer have enough strength to push blood through your capillaries, and then circulation ceases in your body. Well, super aminos reversed that condition. Has anybody ever heard of sarcopenia?
Yeah.
Sarcopenia is, as men age, you have to work out twice as hard to get the same amount of muscle. Super amino reverses sarcopenia, according to the physician's desk reference years ago. We don't make medical claims about it now. But that was one of the things it was used for when it was used again in that way. So this protein, when you take it and you're trying to strengthen your body, it is also clinically proven to increase elasticity of your skin. So as you lose weight, oftentimes your skin tends to sag. As you age, oftentimes you get what's called crepey skin. Super amino is going to help to fight that in a big, big way. Now, in addition to that, most Americans do not get enough sleep. Who here thinks that you get enough sleep? I want a show of hands. Very good. Most Americans do not get enough sleep, and it affects them physiologically. In fact, when you sleep, your brain processes information. When you sleep, your body fights diseases like breast cancer. When you sleep, your body actually burns fat. When you sleep, your brain creates a sort of a blueprint for how your body is going to be acting moving forward. But if you don't sleep, those things all happen to a lesser degree, and your body will suffer because of it. Our tart cherry, the apothecary, naturally contains melatonin. It naturally contains the type of carbohydrates that soothe and calm our muscles, which is really important, because when we sleep, if our muscles are tense, we're not going to go to sleep. We're going to toss and we're going to turn. We're not going to get comfortable. We're not going to settle into the bed. So apothecary not only has, of course, the hormonal support to help us get to sleep, it has antioxidants equal to 6 servings of blueberries. You'd have to eat 6 servings of blueberries before bed to have the same antioxidants swimming through your blood, cleansing your body while you sleep. So this combination of, factors. And does anybody remember that thing called the nurses study? It's like 10,000 nurses or 10,000 people were studied in their lifestyle. Well, the people who grew tart cherries, the people who grew what we make apothecary, they were just stood out among all the other people in the study. They looked younger, their hearts were healthy, their skin was tight, their eyes were bright, all of this stuff. And when they studied the tart cherries, which were thrown away before, by the way, tart cherries were used to make cherry pies. They squeezed the juice out, threw it away, and then they filled the cherries with sugar and made pies out of it. Then they discovered they were throwing away the best part. So in your ultimate lifestyle transformation, you're going to get the super aminos, you're going to get the power shake, you're going to get the apothecary. You're also going to get the most important product, in my opinion. Okay? Does anybody, or has anybody heard of glyphosate?
Yes.
Or glyphosate, as some say. Well, glyphosate is a poison, it's a toxin, and there have been lawsuits against the maker of glyphosate, and they have lost billions and billions of dollars in lawsuits that have since been, challenged, and they lost the appeals as well. And billions of dollars need to be paid to the people who suffer who suffer. I have to make a confession to you. I had a seizure 2 nights ago. It was a minor one. I have since I was in a head-on collision a few years ago, I have occasional seizures. And I'm just recovering from one right now. So if I'm not finding my words and then immediately, please forgive me. But glyphosate is found in 75% of food, and it's found in 95% of beverages. And it's a toxin. If you read my book, The Toxin That Came to Dinner, it's a toxin that's been linked in some way to a series of conditions as a major contributing factor. Things from autism to Alzheimer's and almost everything in between. I always say that's just the A's in the alphabet. We're already doing pretty bad. So because of this, toxin that's in most foods, and it affects the lining of our gut. It affects the lining of our gut. It leads to leaky gut. It causes our body to absorb things it's not supposed to, and to let go of things that it should be holding on to. And with this effect, we also are losing something really critical. Now, our brain has what's called neuroreceptors, and our gut lets go of what are called neurotransmissions. And the neurotransmissions are explicit instructions to the brain, and then the brain takes those instructions and carries out activities within the body. Well, when our gut lining is compromised, we lose a significant amount of our neurotransmissions. Now, if you know about our product Revive It All, it's been shown that our neuroreceptors tend to get oxidized as we age, and they don't receive the signals as well. When you combine the compounded effect of not getting neurotransmissions coming from your gut line and not getting neuroreceptors coming from your brain, we have what's called foggy brain. You walk into the store, you don't remember what you're supposed to get. You walk into a room, you don't remember why you're there. You can't find your keys. The list goes on and on. And so when you take a product like Biomedic, you're going to be repairing the gut lining. You're going to be cleaning the glyphosate out of the body. You're going to be reducing inflammation. In fact, C-reactive protein, the biomarker that indicates how active inflammation is in your body, in our preclinical trial, C-reactive protein was reduced by 75%. Glyphosate was reduced by 74%. And there's a correlation there, you might imagine, because glyphosate leads to inflammation. And so, again, those are the 4 products that come in an ultimate lifestyle transformation. You're going to take the super aminos twice a day. Twice a day, you're going to infuse your muscles with this incredible protein, with this super protein. Twice a day, you're going to infuse your cells with all of the nutrients that will come, the micronutrients, the alkalizing, the oxygen that will come from the Power Shake. And then once before you go to bed, you're going to take the apothecary, and when it's comfortable for you during the day, typically with the meal, you will take the Biomedic. But there's one more part to the program. In addition to these 4 products, which again you'll take for 90 successive days in that rhythm, and you will see incredible results. And we're not going to talk about those now. We're going to give people a chance to share their results with you directly from the mouths of people who experience them. But the final thing that you're going to get is a parasite cleanse. Now, according to statistics, they say about 35% of people have parasites. From what I've learned, I've never found anybody who doesn't. Honestly, I've never found anybody who doesn't have some type of parasitic infection. Now, where do they come from? They could come from swimming in lakes and rivers. They could come, from eating pork. They could come from eating uncooked meat. They could come from even kissing, believe it or not. There's a number of factors that could lead to you having a parasitic infection, but there's very few things that are effective at removing them. Now, we have something called Super Cleansar, and Super Cleansar is taken for 10 days successively. 10 days in a row. That won't happen, I promise. Super Cleansar is taken 10 days in a row, and then you take a 20-day lapse time. And then you're going to take it for 10 more successive days, and there's a very scientific reason for that. Because the incubation cycle of parasites, you need to make sure that any that might have been in egg form when you did your first cleanse, that might have hatched in the interim time, are going to be cleaned by the second wave, by the second cleansing. Now, what are some of the things that you might feel when you begin to take this? Because so far we just talked about the products, talked about some ingredients, even talked about some effect. But what are some of the things that you might begin to feel? Now, I was wondering if we might be able to get, did we have some people who wanted to share today about?
Well, I was going to ask some people if they would like to share.